Hi, this is James with Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today we're going to take a look at Scream, Campers vs. Creatures. This is going to be a 2 to 5 player game published by Bezier Games. In this game, you're going to be trying to have the safest campsite, having at least ghouls and ghosts in your area as possible, and have the lowest score by the end of the third round. Let's go ahead down the table here. I'm going to show you how to play Scream, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to give you my final thoughts. All right, so this is Scream, which is going to be a similar play style to Silverline. However, there's some differences in here, some major differences in this. But this game here is going to be able to be played 2 to 5 players. If you're playing with any less than 5 players, remove one full set of cards. Now in this game, a full set of cards is 6 cards per player. And what you're going to be trying to do is you're going to be trying to get the lowest total number of points on your side in your tableau. And the points are going to be what's in this upper left hand corner. And if you can do that, then you're going to score the least at the end of the round. Now there's a way that you can score 0 points that we're going to get into, but you're going to try to have the best score after the third round. Now in this game, you're going to need a pencil and paper to keep track of the scores. You're going to have 3 different scores that you're going to tally up by the end of the game, and the person with the lowest is going to win. However, the other thing you also have is you're going to have these player aids here, and they're going to explain challenges, because in this version you're going to be able to bluff. And you can do challenges in a couple different ways, and whether they're successful or unsuccessful, what happens. And this on the side is going to tell you what cards actually have powers. So cards 1 through 4 do not, because they're very low cards, and all these other ones do. So you're going to have a player aid. You're going to give 1 to each player. Then you're going to shuffle up this deck. You're going to take 1 card face up, and then you're going to give each player 5 cards face down. Now you might be used to where you will only look at 2 of these cards. However, in this game, it allows you, before the game starts, to look at all of your face down cards, and you can arrange them in any way. So if you're really good with memory, I would probably suggest that you put them in an order that's not ascending or descending, so it's harder for people to guess what your cards are. But what you're trying to do now is that the game is set up is you are trying to get down to 2 cards so that you can scream. And when you're doing that, you're saying, hey, I have the lowest number of points, and hopefully you will. But let's get over how the game flows, and then when you want to actually do this. So when we talk about your campsite here, you are trying to have a safe campsite. And these numbers here are going to be your haunt numbers, and they're going to add up, and that's how haunted your campsite is. So you're going to try to have the safest campsite. To do this, you have 3 different actions you can take on your turn. You can draw from the top of the deck, and you can just draw from the discard pile. So in setup here, we would have placed 1 out. I did forget that part. I'm sorry. So everybody got 6 cards. You got your player aid, and you discard a card to set up. So now that that's ready to go, you can draw a card from the top of the deck, or you can draw a card from the discard pile. You can also scream. Now, you can only scream if you're ever down to 2 cards. I'm going to go over that a little bit more in a second. But what you can do is you can draw the card here, and you can simply play it for its action value here. So this one says view 1 card, and you may exchange it for any other card. So I could discard this and play it for my action card. So let's say I want to view this card. Ooh, that's a 13. I don't want that. So I'm not going to exchange. But if I found a 2 there, that I could have done that. So the other player, they're also going to draw from the top of the deck. So they look at it, and they like this number here, which I don't know what it is. Now, they can exchange this if they don't want to play this card. So this discards 2 matching cards. So we'll do 2 different ways. So let's say they want to discard 2 matching cards. And they say this card and this card are matching. Okay? Now I could challenge them. So if I challenge them, what will end up happening is I'll get to see what this card is and see if it was matching. If I don't challenge them, they're going to get to discard both of these cards, and the card that was any cards that were face down remain face down. Any cards that were face up will go on top of the face down cards, but if not, there'll be a face down card on the top. So, but if I did challenge them, let's say I did challenge them, we'll flip this card over. Oh, they didn't say the truth. Well, with this, since they weren't exchanging, they were using a card ability, they're going to draw another card face down and put it in their camp as a punishment. And since I was right, I get to discard a card. So I'm going to go ahead and discard this card. And discard the card face up. Now let's say that when I challenge them, let's see, which ones match here? Let's say they did these two instead. So we're going to revert and said that they did those two instead. And I challenged them. And they flip it and they're like, oh, well, they were telling the truth. Now, since I challenged them and I was wrong, I draw a card. So a card goes into my campsite. So the other thing that you can do on your turn, other than drawing a card, because that's what you can do with drawing the cards, is you can exchange cards with the discard pile. So I can take this 8 and I can exchange it with 1 or more. If I exchange it with 1, that's fine. But if I exchange it with more, then we can do the same sort of bluffing challenge. Now with this one, if I'm proven that I am not telling the truth and I'm bluffing, I get this card in addition to keeping the other ones I had. Where if I was correct, I get to discard these 2 cards and gain this card just like normal, and the other player will have to draw a card. So that's basically how the challenges work. Now we're going to continue on through there, and there's 2 different ways this game can end. One way the game can end is we end with no cards to draw. So if we get here and there's no cards to draw, the game will end. We're going to add up our points, and the person with the lowest points is going to technically win that round. But that's it. You're going to add up your scores and put it on the sheet. We're going to talk about starting the next round in a second, because the other thing you can do to end a round is scream. So if we get to the point, let's say we're in the game state where this is where we're at. So this player here is down to 2 cards. Now on my turn, I can do my actions like normal, or for an entire action, for my entire turn, I can scream. And what ends up happening there is that I'm going to win. Every other player gets 1 more turn, and then we're going to flip over our cards, so that there would have to be some more on the draw pile for this, and we're going to see what the totals are. So this player here has 20, and I have 19, very close. So with this, I won, so I get 0 points. So I don't get 19 points, because points are bad, because I screamed and I was right. However, if we have a state like this, where they had 10 and I had 19 and I was wrong, everyone adds up their points as normal, except for the person that did the scream, since they weren't the lowest, has to add 10 plus their numbers to their score. And that's it for how a round works. How do you do the next round? Well, the camper with the lowest score on the round goes first for the next round. In case of a tie, the lowest scoring camper to the left of the previous starting camper goes first. And you're going to go over this for 3 rounds until the end of the 3rd round. And the person with the least points at the end of the 3rd round is the winner. If there is a tie, though, the camper with the lowest score in the final round wins. If there's still a tie, the camper with the lowest score in the previous round wins, and so on. If there's still a tie in all rounds, play another round and add that score to your total to determine the winner. So that's going to be how you play Scream. Now, the next thing we're going to do is I went over the fact that you have some abilities here. Well, there's a bunch in here. And if you remember in the Silver line, they had different cards, sets had different abilities. Well, in this one, they come out with these little expansions here. So this one here is the expansion called a Quiet Card. And this one here can exchanges all the 2s that are in the deck, and this gives 2s an ability. And this says, if face up in your campground, you may not scream. So it's a negative ability 2 card. So that's as an interesting twist. But other ones here, like this 5 here, says view any one card. So that doesn't have to be yours. It could be any card in any camp. And we have, let's get the 6 here. So 6, view any 2 cards. Then we have the 7. The 7 is one of the bluffing cards that you have to, that you can challenge. So other than the challenges I said, you can bluff with a 7. So with the 7, it says I can use one of my face down abilities. I don't show people what my face down ability is, but I can say what it does. And if they don't believe me, they can challenge me, and it goes the same way. So if they're correct, my ability doesn't take off, and they get to discard a card. But if they're incorrect, my ability goes off, and I get to do the ability. So you could challenge with the 7s in there. Then we also have these 8s. So the 8s here, discard 1 card with a value lower than 8. And again, this can be an interesting ability you can use at any turn. Discard 1 card that matches any face-up card. And discard 2 cards with more matching cards. This one here is also another way, like I explained it before, that you can get into bluffing. Then we have the 11. So the 11 here, exchange 1 card for any other card. And we have a 12 here and a 13. So let's see, here's a 12. The 12 here, view 1 card and you may exchange it for any other card. And the 13 is give the top deck, draw deck card to any camper face down. And that's the different cards in here and different abilities in here and how you play Scream. Let's go ahead back up the table here and I'll give you my final thoughts on this game. All right, so that was Scream Campers versus Creatures. Now this game is going to be semi-similar to the line Silver Line if you've played that before. So you're going to be at home with this game if you've played those before. There are some big differences between the Silver Line and the Scream game. One is you're going to start with more cards. 2 is you get to look at all your cards before you start the game, not just 2. 3 is going to be that you are able to not call the vote, but you're able to scream, but with less cards. So in Silver, you're able to do it in 4 or less cards, but in Scream, you have to have 2 or less to do it. So you're going to be farther along. With that, it seems like the deck can run out a little bit faster in this game, but the other change too is where the Silver Line is only up to 4 players. This plays up to 5 players. And in the Silver Line, you always have to have 20 cards out at the beginning of the game. This, you start with more cards, but if you don't have that 5th player, you always remove that 5th player's worth of cards. So your deck's going to be slightly different, or slightly more than you're playing in a 2-player game than a 3 or 4-player game, but it doesn't seem to matter much. So those are going to be some of the big differences that were between the Silver Line and the Scream Line. If you like the Silver Line, you're going to probably love this game. This game gives a nice little twist to it, especially if you love the Silver Line and you have like all the different versions of Silver out there. This is definitely going to be up your alley. If you've never played Silver before and you liked how the game flowed when we talked about how to play the game or the idea of the game, this game's going to be for you. This game's a lighter game. This is a game you're going to be busting out and you're going to be able to play fairly quickly and very easy to teach. So this is a great game to play with friends and family in a casual manner. Overall, I really like this game. I think this game is going to see a lot of play with my family, and it's going to be one that's going to be added to my collection. Do I like it better than the Silver Line? I don't know. I do like it a lot. I do like a lot about the Silver Line there. I like the fact that you can't look at all the cards, although this, I have a hard time remembering them anyway. So It doesn't matter too much with this, but I think they both have a place. So I have a silver line cards and I have the Scream cards, and I like them both, and I'll keep them both. But that's my thoughts on Scream Campers versus Creatures. If you like what we do, please like and subscribe. It really helps us out a lot. It helps us get more content to you all and all that fun stuff. But either way, I hope you all have a great day, and thank you for watching.